Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today we have Lois, and I can't wait for her to share about everything she does. It's going to be really awesome. So, Lois, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, Nick. I really appreciate you letting me be here on your podcast. I am an online visibility expert, and I help local businesses get more attention with their searches with Google and YouTube and get more clients who are actually looking for them.
That's awesome. And I actually help businesses do some of that, but I'm not the expert like you. I do a lot of other things also. So that's really awesome. And I definitely know how that can really help your business. You know, you get that search engine optimization so more people visit your site and all that good stuff. So when you're working with the client, what are like a couple little tips that you give your clients?
Well, to start with, we want to make sure that their site could actually rank on Google. And there are certain rules that Google has that says that if you don't follow these rules, you don't even have a chance to rank. So a couple of those are your site has to be mobile friendly because 70% of people are searching on their phone these days. Your website has to be Google fast. So they have a certain speed that they require sites to be on if they're going to rank higher on the rankings. And so there's some testing tools out there. And again, it's because people are searching on their phones. They expect to be fast, but also we are now, the human race, its attention span is shorter than a goldfish now. So people aren't going to sit there on their phones or even on their computer and wait around for your site to come up. So it has to be really, really fast. The other thing is Google expects you to have reviews, and reviews are there because it tells Google that you're actually in business. And then it also tells consumers looking for your service that you do a good business. And then the fourth thing is that Google's looking for sites that get more clicks. Now, I have to be real honest with you, Nick. When this first came out, I was like, that's just not fair because if you're not on first page, how are you going to get a lot of clicks? And so we have some tools that we use that uses AI that helps with that process. So when we start out, we make sure that their website accommodates these 4 rules to start with.
And, you know, I know what you're talking about because I just went through that Google tool that tells you what you need to improve on your website. And it was like a couple of my pictures were actually slowing it down. So I had to change the picture format and then we got it all figured out and we're good to go. So, you know, it was really cool to see that because when you're just viewing it, you would never know, you know? So it's really good to have somebody like you on your side who can explain all these things and help you fix them.
Oh, yeah, but thank you. Yeah, there are certain things like certain plugins might slow down your site, and images is a really common situation that slows down sites. You got to compress those images.
Yep. And, you know, another thing about, you know, making it mobile friendly, that was another issue that mine had. So we had to go in and make a couple changes, and it was really cool because then after we were done, we went and looked at it and we're like, oh, that looks a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, so with the mobile friendly, especially what they're looking for is that the content needs to switch to a vertical position and that your buttons need to get larger so that people can touch it on their phone. So there's a couple of really big things that Google is looking for.
I remember like a year ago, I built my first website by myself, no idea what I was doing, and all the buttons that I put on top of the page, they end up being basically half-page size buttons on mobile. So you had to scroll like 4 times just to get to the content because it was all buttons. I was like, well, I did that wrong. So
Learn, so
I
that's
did.
important. Yeah, you always have to be
Yeah.
learning.
I always like to just do something and figure out and then learn how to improve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about Google and search engines is that I'm always learning because they're always changing something and something new is coming up. And, especially with AI coming out, Google's a little bit, honestly, they're a little nervous because there's predictions that people are going to be start searching on different AI chats instead of using
Yeah.
Google. And so there's some things there that Google's trying to work on to make sure they don't lose that popularity, if you will. And then there's some things that business owners need to worry about as far as making sure that they can be found with the different AIs. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where you introduce schema because schema is a language that computers read. So now it's more of an emphasis that you've got to get your schema on your website.
Okay. I've heard schema, but I really don't know a whole lot about it. Can you explain a little bit more on what that does?
Yeah, so it's really a kind of the way that the language is worded and then it's embedded in the back end or that non-visible side of your website. And that's where the different crawlers or the different tools that read all your content and translate it into a language we can read. That's what they read. And so there's certain things like you want to really emphasize schema like on what your what service you're doing. So like if you're HVAC, you want to make sure that the schema knows that you do that service. You want to really emphasize your location because most people are searching for things that are close to them. So you want to really emphasize, especially those two things. You really make sure your schema knows what you do and where you're located and what areas you service.
Awesome, awesome. Well, my team must have did pretty good on that because if I use like a chat GPT to search me, it comes up with all this stuff about me. And some of the stuff is like, oh yeah, I do that, huh? It's like, huh, I can learn something. Yeah, but I love AI. Most of the products that I offer people all use AI. It saves business owners time.
Oh, definitely.
With AI, I tell my clients, don't necessarily look at it as a tool. Look at it as an employee. Because when you have an employee, your employees do about 80% of the work, and then you do the extra 20% to make it perfect or your own. So that's how I look at AI. It's like it can help me with stuff, but I still gotta add my touch at the end. Would
Right.
you agree with that?
I agree with that 100%. I mean, that is, I kind of look at it. Some people are like, oh, it's going to replace people and things like that. It's like, well, no, not really. Because if you think about it, okay, so for example, I'll give you a story here. When I was in elementary school so long ago, the teachers were talking about, oh, computers are coming out. We'll have shorter work days and shorter work weeks and da 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 da. Da. When I got my first computer, man, it was not shorter time. I was putting in so much time just to learn how to use it in the process. And then I got used to it. And then I was putting in so much time because then I realized how much more I could do or needed to do because I had the computer. This is really the first time that I see where my work days could become shorter because
Yeah.
with AI, you're helping it to advise me with content or making plans, tips on scheduling my calendar, creating videos. I love the AI video programs. I used to spend like 3 hours creating video, or even like I have a podcast too, and I would spend 3 hours just putting all the information together and getting everything put together for my podcast. And now it takes me maybe 45 minutes to get everything, the YouTube descriptions and the content and everything. It's cut back the time so much. And I just love AI.
Yeah. AI is just going to help humans do their job faster. That's what it's going to do. And as business owners, the faster we can do a job, the more people we can help. So then, therefore, the more revenue we can make. So, I love AI. I think it's an awesome resource, and business owners just have so much to gain with using it.
I agree. And I was listening, one of my mentors was sharing a phone service AI.
I
And
have that. Yep.
oh, you got that? Oh,
Yep.
that was pretty cool. I mean, it
It's
sounded so
awesome.
real.
Mm-hmm.
The example they used, they were working with a mushroom tea company, and the
Okay.
AI offered to send them a sample and got their address, and it was pretty beautiful.
Yep. We can use ours. It will answer our question, so we can build out different, you know, products within the AI. So if you ask a question about a certain product we sell, it'll answer it, and then I have one right now. It's focused on booking appointments, so that I can talk to people face to face and tell them all about what we do. So for business owners, like, this is so huge, because just think of all the missed calls that you get a day. Like, if you're, fairly successful, at least you're gonna miss phone calls, and if you can answer every single one, just imagine how that's going to improve your business.
Very true, very true. And just even creating AI video for content and putting it on YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google. So that helps with all of your rankings and all of those things. So it's all just really coming together, and it's coming together for a point where I think that we really could have more free time.
Yep, and that's what we want. So, how did you get started into this career?
Well, my parents were entrepreneurs, and when I was in junior high, I took a cake decorating class. And from that cake decorating class, my mom volunteered me to do a family friend's wedding cake. And from there on, I was doing cakes. So I did cakes all the way through high school. And that was kind of like my first entrepreneurial experience. And so my goal was that since I did cakes and I learned flower arrangements, and I was minoring in photography in college. So my goal was I was going to go to Georgia. I was living in Indiana. So I don't know why Georgia came up. That's just kind of a weird thing that says, I'm going to go to Georgia and I'm going to open a full service wedding shop, and I'll sell dresses and I'll do flowers and I'll make cakes and I'll do the photography. So that was my plan. So I had all the experience except for the photography. So I was looking for a photographer to work with, and I've introductions and met a gentleman who said I could assist him for the summer. And so, yeah, about almost towards the end of the summer, we started dating, and then we got married. And so we had a photography studio, and 40 years later, we're still here, but we had a very successful photography studio for 35 years. And that was before like internet, before computers and all that. So as those things were introduced to us as a business, I was like all in. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to have a website. We're going to do this. We're going to do email marketing and all of this. So I was leading the studio through all this process. Well, then when my husband retired, then I just felt like I was not ready to retire. So I just continued that service for other people. And I really love the internet marketing. I love the changes and how fast it grows and just keeping up with it. I'm a kind of like a excited junkie with all that stuff.
This episode of the Infinite Abilities podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com, and discover how infinite your potential really is. That's such a cool story. So you still have your photography studio?
No,
Okay.
we sold our photography. We retired from the photography studio. My husband still does. He has an online art gallery now.
Cool.
So he still offers scenics and animals and cityscapes and things like that. Beautiful work.
Okay, and then so you sold that, and then you opened what you're doing now. And what is the name of your current company?
It's called JFT Web Marketing.
Awesome, awesome. And is the website at jftwebmarketing.com?
Yes, it is, Nick. Good
Good,
job.
good, good. Awesome. And then how else could people reach out to you if they want to get started and get your help?
Well, I'm social media's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm in those areas too. So we'd be
Awesome.
happy to give. I tell you what, I'll even offer this for your listeners. Anybody who would like to have a free website audit, I will offer that to your listeners.
That's
So
awesome. Thank you so
just send
much.
me an email to info@JFT Web Marketing and mention Nick, and you'll get a free website audit.
Awesome. Thank you. I
Mhm.
know that so many people are going to take you up on that. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
And then, you know, where do you see websites going in the future? Like, do you think there is a big change happening, or do you think we're still going to be using websites just like we have been for the past 10 years?
I think the style of websites are changing. I think people want to go to your website and get more information about you. They want to see more video. People just don't want to read
Yep.
content anymore. So you're going to need to really get some more video embedded into your websites to give people the information that they're looking for. I think people are visiting websites because they want answers to their questions. They don't want to know your history and all of that. I mean, that's always good to show your authenticity and how long you've been in business, but people really want answers to their questions. And so
Yeah.
I think people need to kind of direct their websites to more consumer friendly rather than just here I am.
Yep. So more of like a landing page than your, typical website. Is that kind of the thought that you have?
Well, I think people still want multiple pages as far as like they want to see your about us page and they want to get your contact information. But I think that you need to really direct it to more frequently asked questions, more of
Hmm.
those types of things.
And a little tip for the listeners. You just mentioned, having frequently asked questions. You guys want to know how to find those questions to put on your website? You go on Google, you search your industry, and you look at all the questions that people ask. And then you put them on your website, and that's going to help everything. Google loves that when you do that.
Very
So
good.
hopefully I didn't give away a big secret, but
Oh, darn it, Nick. That was my next point. Oh, I
darn,
also like, have you heard of answerthepublic.com?
I have. Yep,
Okay, that's a good
yep.
source to use as well.
Oh, awesome. I go on there. I didn't do it for my own, so I gotta do it. Yeah. Didn't even think of it. I've heard of it.
Well, now you need to go back and put a little update on there.
I do, and I will get my tech guy on that.
Okay.
So awesome. All right. Well, this has been amazing. And before we go, I have a question. So my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
I think that God gives us all very special abilities and talents, and that it's up to us to expand in those and grow in those and do things that bring joy to other people.
I agree with that 100%. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
And
you.
then, do you have any last words of wisdom for the audience?
Well, I think that everybody should come to the conclusion that the internet's not going to go away. So we need to embrace it. We need to keep up with it. And we need to fasten our seatbelts because the speed of things that are going on with AI and all that is going really fast. And it's going to take a lot of keeping up to know what's going to happen.
I agree. And for the people that are on the fence about AI or don't agree with it, let me tell you, I think we all have our own opinions about AI, some of the things that we don't like about it, but it's here, it's happening, we can't stop it. So don't be left in the past and get with the times, use it to your advantage so it doesn't use you.
That's a good tip.
All right, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Nick. I really appreciate you having me.
Of course. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.